Birds watched, the silence grew. Was she through? Who knew?
The Wild Party was written by Joseph Moncue's March. It's a poem about vaudeville performers trying to be more than they are socially and yet trapped by who they are. So it's a real reaction against the straight-laced society that went into World War I, sort of in the flapper era. The things that you weren't supposed to do, have fun having sex, drink, and smoke, and this whole story is about that.
He seized her wrist, gave it a twist.
It's a cautionary tale of a certain sort. The appeal is not the characters, and it's not the arc that they go through. The appeal is the way they're described and the way they're portrayed.
Gray eyes, lips like coals aglow. Her face was a tinted mask of snow.
They're set into action, and the actions clash with each other, and that's where the tension in the story comes from. The shadow world is a world about fantasy more than about realism, and that there has to be some element of non-reality to make a shadow play real. Let's put some tape where we want the windows to be. What I began with after finishing in Xanadu was wanting to do something that was really part of the Western cinema tradition. I was thinking of doing film noir. So I looked at 30 movies or more and realized that even though I remember shadows in all of them, they're not really there. It's not that big a part of it. And what is a big part of it is a kind of gritty realism that is actually very hard for me to do in shadows.
A man to be careful of.
The Wild Party was what I ended up with. What's difficult about it from a theatrical point of view is that it's so confined. It takes place in one apartment, in one evening, in one party.
The gang was there when midnight came. The studio was lit by a candle flame. Christ, what a crew. Take a look at Madeline True. Her eyes slanted, her eyes were green, heavy-lidded, pouched, obscene. Her body was marvelous, a miracle had used it. The whole world had seen it, and a good part had used it.
Ah, Nadine, May's kid sister. 14. No man had kissed her. And of course hers, natty and gray, with a breath you could smell a yard away. Putting his better foot foremost and trying to be the perfect host.
Well, what we can do is move this and put it in a different place and see how it looks.
As these windows start to get smaller, the city's going to get bigger until we start heading down this and get to his big window. And you started zooming back from this.
In this production of Wild Party, we wanted to bring a lot more visuals to it, a lot more close-ups, and make it a more cinematic experience. For the cityscape and party scenes, we were trying to think of ways of getting different perspectives or different point of view so that the audience can move different places and not just be stuck in a room watching two people. That was the idea of the building, was to bring everybody outside of the room and get a sense of movement and buildings and the architecture of the time.
The steep, black neighboring walls shot up out of sight. Across the gulf, a window shone. Square, yellow, and they shrieked, "There's a fellow! There's a fellow! Cut out that noise! You bastard!
And who the hell are you?
My God, it's only 2:30.
Pulling your ass!
Go soak your head!
You're keeping Ancient people awake!
Shut up! So is your Uncle Jay.
Just to get an idea of the size and if it's going to work in front of the light, sometimes you just have to start hacking away at things and make them happen. You always have to see it to know if it's going to work or not.
When I first saw Larry's work with The Tempest, that the scrim was going to go up and I was going to see incredible equipment backstage, lasers and computers and all kinds of, huge elaborate sets. And instead, it's these little people holding cutout pieces of cardboard and flashlights. It is so homemade. Queenie, for instance, is wearing this negligee and some old hip band I bought, a long time ago, and some $5 shoes from Payless. And she, looking fairly demented, in this mask. And the fact that in shadow she manages to come off as this very elegant figure, I love that difference.
When Larry and I put this project together, it was based on a film noir concept. I had almost a Peter Gunn type style in my mind. The importance of the music is to help enhance any sort of moodiness and to allow things to happen.
They floated dreamlike across the floor towards the bedroom door.
I started with an idea that certain central characters would have their own theme.
Her legs
And they move through keys and through different tempos and become a bit intermeshed with the other characters as time goes through the overall piece. That goes back in movie history, even to the silent movies.
What show?
Queenie to me was an alto saxophone, that's why I had to have it. It's a very brooding, sexy type of almost Goldfinger sounding. And a real wailing sound, real airy. It's as if she's entering the room and you get a feeling of her being there before she actually appears.
God, Queenie, you're looking swell. Quoth Queenie.
I'm feeling slick as hell.
Queenie is somebody who's just over the hill and doesn't quite know it yet. And that's an interesting part of anybody's life, really.
She lay stretched out on a crumpled bed, naked, slim arms above her head.
Queenie is kind of a quintessential slut, but the way that you need to play Queenie is a queen.
Queenie! He seized her arm, shook it. She may have been pleased, but she didn't look it.
Queenie's definitely a sexual manipulator and is out to kind of use all of her power to kind of get what she wants.
She was cold as ice all through it. She had him now, and she knew it. She covered his mouth with a kiss like flame, and he quivered, and he gasped. Oh, and he almost came. Now, swift as a snake, she shifted. Oh! When she leapt up, fled with hard laughter. Bleeding at the mouth, he rushed after. You run, bitch, I'll fix you yet. She grabbed a knife from the kitchenette and a brown bottle with a whiskey label, then fled swiftly round the table.
You touch me and I'll kill you, you filthy bastard!
The threat was banal, but her tone lent it a quality that showed she meant it. Come on, be a sport. Go on, cutie, drop the knife. Let's call it quits. I like my life.
Yeah, I wouldn't choose it. And once and for all, I'll tell you what. The next time you call me a lazy slut, if I can find a knife, I'll damned well use it. So kick that idea around to you.